Episode 34 here. What's up, everybody? This is Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host, Seth. Today with me, we got Dante.
What's going on?
What's up, man? We were just briefly kicking it before we got on here. Talking about how we went to the same school. Kind of always had a mutual respect for one another, but never really ran with the same crowd. But that's okay.
Yeah.
And now we're here on a podcast, and you said this is your first one, right?
Yes, first one. Super excited.
I was gonna say, how you feeling about it?
Honestly, at first I was a little anxious. I had like that gut feeling, and like I was like on my way, and I was like I don't know like how to feel about it.
Keep going.
More of like kind of just driving here, and I was like, shit, like what did I get my? Because I honestly like I've listened to it, right? But like I also didn't know like I was kind of getting myself into, and like I overthink things a lot. But then getting here and like I don't know, it always helps when I bring like a nice gift. I don't know, it like always soothes me at least. Like it's never needed, but I always it's for me it's just kind of weird not to.
No, I appreciate it.
Of course.
So to let the people know, this guy brought me some Tito's vodka, and obviously to be a guest on the show, you definitely do not need to bring anything. Yeah. But if you want to bring something, it's the gift that keeps on giving, because now we got some drinks, so we can enjoy ourselves while we're having a conversation. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I will say when we were bullshitting it, we were talking about tattoos, which big fan of tattoos. I really like your tattoos.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you wanted to plug a little bit about. I don't know if the artist that does yours does others, or if she's only doing yours now. But
yeah, it's Sophia Elvie. I can pull up her Instagram, but I don't know it off like the top of my head. She's an amazing artist. She went to Franklin. Maybe I was like a couple grades ahead of her, maybe 2, I think. But she's done a lot of my work. She's now at a shop at Eternal, apprenticing. I posted her. I could post her stuff on my social media. I don't know most of the viewers probably.
You can plug yours if you want.
What is it? I don't even know mine.
It's like TE. I know that's like your name. But.
So it's Tay.Kea. That's what it is.
On Instagram?
So because like, I feel like a lot of people know me as like Dante Brown, right? And like,
I thought it was Keaton.
It is Keaton, but in high school it was Dante Brown. So my name was Dante Nathaniel Brown. At 18, after like high school, like for Father's Day, I changed my name to Dante Eli Keaton for my stepdad.
Okay.
So yeah, I've run into people and they're like, I guess I don't look like how I looked back then, and so like they're looking, like, yeah, I'm Dante, and they're like, Dante, and I'm like, Dante Brown, and they're like, oh, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah. They're like, we would have never guessed, and I was like, oh, I guess I kind of have to like put that out there. I feel like sometimes for like some people, but yeah, it was definitely it was more of a switch over too. Like I don't know if this is like too loud or what.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, but like. After high school, like it was kind of like I just wanted to rebrand myself in a way, and I felt like getting rid of the old and coming in with like a new palette was like needed for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple questions on that.
Yeah.
So was Brown your father's name?
Yep.
And then Keaton's your stepdad's name?
Yep.
So why did you want to make that change?
Well, my stepdad came into my life at a very like pinnacle age, like when I was younger and stuff, and he was always there for me. Like he really showed me what like fatherhood was, like being an actual father and caring, and like I don't know, it was just like a huge honor to have someone come into my life that didn't know me. Like I had grown up like 7 years before he came in, really, and then all of a sudden like he decided that he would care for me. He didn't need to. He wasn't obligated to do that, but like he really took the time, took the effort, and put in the work. And so like at 18, I was like, you know what? Like I'm the only Brown in the family. I don't speak to any of the other family that was Brown. So I was like, I kind of want to be a Keaton. And so I was like, let's just change this. Like let's make this happen. Did
you guys ever talk about changing your name? Like until you did it. Like did he ever say, oh, no. You should?
He didn't.
Did it out of your own choice?
Yeah, he didn't say anything until I had brought it up that it was happening.
That's badass.
I was like, for Father's Day, I want to take your last name, and then I'll let you choose my middle name, because my middle name was Nathaniel, which was my biological dad's name. And so like, I don't speak to him. I haven't spoken to him since I was like young, like 9 years old. And
your biological dad,
yeah.
You're saying?
And so it was just like kind of like, I don't know, out with the old, in with the new. It was something like I just felt like kind of was necessary and refreshing, you know, like especially with high school. Like high school was great. I had a great time, but I didn't feel like I was necessarily myself in high school. Like I really struggled with like being who I was, right? And like figuring out what I wanted in life. Mm-hmm. And so like kind of after high school, like I had like this whole like realization that like I really wanted to discover that. Like I wanted to dive as deep as I could into my head and like nitpick things and like just rediscover myself, like figure out what I enjoy, what I love, and like I don't know, just kind of just restart in a way. Like,
yeah, no, I hear that, and it's kind of surprising because again, I know we weren't super close in high school, but from outside looking in, I feel like you were kind of always authentic. Like I feel like I can't picture you being like, you know, not yourself.
Yeah.
So why do you think that you felt like what parts about you in high school did you feel like you couldn't express or something?
I was just a very like confused person. I dealt with like depression a lot, and like my anxiety was really bad. Like I felt like I had a lot of friends, and I feel like a lot of people would say that they were my friends, but also I felt very distant from everyone. Like I didn't hang out with a lot of people. Like outside of school, like there was only few people I hung out with realistically. Most of the time I would kind of chill. Like I was very like, and I think now I kind of understand that I'm a little more like introverted in a way. Like I'm a very outgoing introvert, I would say. Like,
okay.
I do love and like enjoy talking to people and stuff, but also like I have a very small energy bar, like a social battery. Like,
really?
It hits a certain point, and like it can be a complete like switch, and then my anxiety starts to get going, and then I like start getting in my head about things. And that's like the biggest thing I've been working on now is like understanding that the voice in your head is not who you are, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's telling you things and like bringing all these fears and worries, and it's like the challenge is to understand that like you are in control of it. Like, right? Like a negative thought pops in, right? And you're just like, fuck, man, like this is rough. Like I got to deal with this. And then it's like taking that second to be like, that's not the case at all. Like you don't need to worry about that at all. Like it's not even that bad. Where like in high school, I did that a lot. Like it was always like, I was worried that like, I mean, maybe I was like, I wouldn't say I wasn't authentic, but I think I was more of a try-hard. And
really? Trying to fit in?
Yeah, trying to fit in. Maybe not. Maybe,
well, maybe you were. Yeah. Maybe you felt like it. But from the outside looking in, like I said, I wouldn't say this if I didn't mean it. I again, not very close with you, but didn't ever feel like, because I feel like when I see somebody that's trying to fit in, I can recognize it pretty easily. Like it's like, all right, dude. And I could name several people who I felt like in high school were like that.
Yeah.
I didn't see you as that. So if that's how you felt, then I guess you were good at making it not seem that way.
I feel like that is a thing I not like to do, but just happens is like, I don't know, certain instances and like certain situations, like I can really put on that mask, mm-hmm. or I could really put on that mask. Now I don't do that. I work on not doing that. I like to be like legit and honest, and like if I have a thought or I have something that I feel like needs to be said, it's said, mm-hmm. instead of repressing and just being like, oh, like, okay, like let's do this then instead, or just kind of like walked over in a way. I feel like I wasn't necessarily walked over in high school. I don't know. I think it's really just all mental for me.
Yeah, all honestly. In your head.
Like, it was just all in my head. And
you're trapped in your mind?
Yeah, trapped in my mind. And I feel like it was just kind of like after high school, I just wanted that break. I wanted to like reinvent myself from like what I thought I was.
Did you keep the same friends from high school as you're reinventing yourself? Did you keep the same friends?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I talked to a lot of them that I used to like hang out with. Not all of them, and it sucks, but like everyone grows. Everyone has their different paths. Yeah. Everyone, you know, I can't be mad at them, and I hope they're not mad at me for like just moving on and dealing with things. Like that's life. Like that's what it comes down to. Is like I still appreciate and love all of them, but like also like I am doing my thing, and I hope they're doing their thing and being successful like in their life.
So this reinvention that you wanted to do, for the friends that you did keep, right? Did they always know this side of you, or like when you started, you know, reinventing yourself, were they kind of like, "Yo, are you okay? Like, what is all this you're doing?"
Well, there was like a phase of it where I like cut myself out of like everything, right? For like a good solid year, I wasn't necessarily focusing on myself, but I like was in a relationship and just kind of put my time all towards that and just like completely left like everything. I left like my family, I left like my friends, and just kind of did my own thing. And like not even my own thing, it was their thing. Like I was doing what I was molding to them. Mm-hmm. And like it was like kind of that final page of like I was like upset with like who I was. I got into this relationship with like just like basically Play-Doh and just going into like what they were doing and leaving what I was doing and like all my relationships and stuff to like kind of just like forget about it and like focus on that, right? It was a rough time, honestly. That year was pretty fucking shitty, and then the following year was like a little like easier, but it was still fucking rough. And like I mean that was only what, like I'm 23 now, so like 2 years ago. Like it was like 19 to 20 was like my final like after that relationship and like realizing what I had done like with like relationships and stuff. It was like that was like the reinventation, I should say. The name change was like a part of it, like completely, but it was also like I feel like the beginning stages of like I didn't know who I was in high school. Like I mean I a lot of people do say I like played it off very well, but like it wasn't like I don't like what is the word, like I feel like I'm a lot different from what I was in high school. Like my views, my personality, my mentality, and a lot of things. So then it hit like this point where I was like in this confusion, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Cut like all the ties, was just focusing on this relationship and like just working like a shit ton. And then that ended, and I was just like, what the fuck did I do? Like it was kind of like just blindsided. It was just like, wow, like I lost relationship with so many people, and like it was just kind of like a big moment of like realization that like not only did I need to work on myself, but I also needed to work on the relationships that surrounded my life that were in fact like very pinnacle in my life. Like my mom and dad's relationship, like I did that because at the time it was like a huge like it was a huge moment. But then after that relationship and stuff, I felt like I kind of was distant. Like I felt like I kind of lost my touch with them. And so like now, like over the years, like it's back. Like it's beautiful, and like that's what it like just relationships in general. I feel like to be successful in life, you have to have good relationships.
Oh, for sure.
And like that was another key of it, was like to also be successful, you have to have the right mindset. You have to be able to know who you are and what you want to do, and like not necessarily completely know what you want to do, but like have a like more of a general idea.
Yeah, right? and take steps towards doing whatever that is.
Yeah.
And that idea can change.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you might think you want to do something, but then you can try doing that and then, I'll do something else. But doing something instead of just thinking it'll come to you.
Yeah.
But I like all of what you're saying, and that's really cool. I was going to ask, so kind of after you left that relationship and you started realizing that you needed to focus on other relationships as well.
Yeah.
With the reinvention of yourself, would you say that your relationships with others got better with that reinvention?
Definitely. I became more original and more authentic with myself, and like the people that are in my life now, like they were part of the growth. Like having them around and being able to talk to them and like be just genuinely myself and not have any fear of like hurting anyone's feelings or like them just walking away. I feel like it was more like back then I was so scared of like saying something wrong or having like someone just like walk out of my life, right? Because I mean it happened with like my biological dad, so I think it was more of like a trauma that like I like then in high school was like holding on to.
Are you saying you said something wrong, that's why your dad left out of your life? Or
no. I didn't say anything wrong, but it was just like that fear.
You would relate it back to somebody you care about leaving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. But it's so weird, you know, hearing you talk through that. I was kind of on the opposite end of that.
Yeah.
I was trying to mold somebody. Okay. As where you said you kind of were the one molding to somebody else. Yeah. And so it's like, you know, even though that whole relationship has kind of ran its course and I think we've both taken learnings from it, I still kind of feel guilty hearing you talk about it, because hearing how you felt when you were molding somebody else makes me feel bad for unintentionally trying to mold somebody to fit what I wanted. That's wild.
Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily them trying to mold me. It was me doing it on my own and not completely realizing. Like with those like intimate relationships, I can be. At the time, I lost myself. I would lose myself in like relationships, and that was the thing that like after it, I was like, I don't want that to happen again. Like I want to be able to like have relationships with a bunch of people, like friendships and stuff, and also have an intimate relationship, but keep who I am. Like like not lose myself again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was necessarily molding, but more of losing myself into. Yeah. Relationship.
I know. I think molding is. I mean. Again, based on what you're saying, I would agree that's kind of like what happened in my scenario. Like, I don't think that I was telling her one way to be and she was doing it. I think it was more like she was being a better person and recognizing things I liked and tried to, do those things as where I was like, oh, yay, she's doing these things. And I wasn't reciprocating it back. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see how... I know how it is from my perspective because I was the one that was being molded too. Yeah. And so hearing, how it is from somebody who's, I guess, and if you want to stay away from the word molding.
No, molding's fine. Because that's technically what it was. Like I was more forming into them, so it's molding.
You're serving like their, like what they like. Like you wanted to make them happy in all these different ways. So you're kind of taking things that you enjoy and maybe, I guess, suppressing them so that way you could fit their check boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like, and it wasn't just with like an intimate relationship. I feel like I was doing that a decent amount in high school and maybe a little bit after high school with friends as well. Like I would never say, hey, well, I don't think I ever said, hey, like don't do this because I want you to. But I feel like I have ways of talking where it's like I would say these things I like, and because these people cared about me, they just start doing them. Yeah. And because they were doing them, like, oh, we're getting along, I wouldn't actually see what they liked and try doing what they liked. Yeah. So it was always one-sided. Oh, okay. And for a while, my relationships felt good to me because everyone was doing what I wanted. Yeah. And then kind of all at the same time, I was like, I feel like this isn't actually a good relationship. I feel like it's definitely, they're yes-manning me. Like I almost feel like I was being yes-man. Like they'll tell me things I want, but it's not what they want. I never really was asking. And then I was getting fed up because I'm like, well, why did you fucking say something? The more mature person me now would be like, I should have asked them. Yeah. But it's just it's interesting hearing the contrast between
Was that me?
Oh, it's your keys. Between your perspective and mine.
Yeah, but it's also, I just think it's so great. Like relationships in general, bad or good or bad, like they help no matter what. I feel like even a bad relationship is a good relationship because that person's growing. They should be growing at least. Like I know it can be hard and like they can go through things and like some can be very bad. Like there's definitely relationships out there that are like toxic and should probably not have happened. But to learn what you want from a relationship or want as a person I feel like is always a gain. Like even I know there's like some things out there that are like a little too much, like that shouldn't happen and it's very frowned upon. Yeah. But I feel like in the gist of more of just a relationship, like there's always something you should be able to take from it.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like that's always a step in the right direction, no matter how bad it is. Like you realize that this wasn't deserved, or like I didn't need to be treated like this, or like these are the things that I need to work on in a relationship to grow in another relationship, or like to find who I was as a person. Like, they're all like stepping stones in a way, at least for me and what I take of a relationship. Like it's like you should always take the negatives and try to turn them into a positive. And that's with a relationship and without a relationship, just in general. Like, there's so much stuff that happens that like you shouldn't let any, it's obviously harder said than done, but like take the like, I don't know. I feel like holding on to anything, like we were saying earlier, like holding on to negativity is just wrong. Like it impacts you more than letting it go. Like
it takes more energy from you.
So I don't know. I feel like I haven't been in many relationships, to be honest, but like that one, it was good, but also shitty. But it also turned me into like who I wanted to be. Yeah. Right? Like I there's things that I needed to change that I recognized that I wanted to work on. And I'm very thankful for that. And like, I hope she's doing well. Like, I don't talk to her anymore, but like, it's not like I hold any grudge.
Yeah.
Like, things happen. Like, that's life. Like, shit changes. Feelings aren't, like, I'm not going to be hurt about it. Like, just move on and do the best I can do to be me.
Yeah, and I think that's, both of what you said is important. I think you need to, for one, there's going to be a grudge for a little bit probably.
Yeah.
Unless you can split amicably, which doesn't happen often, cool. But more often than not, there'll be a grudge for a decent amount of time. But being able to eventually let that go is important. But also, I think there's two different types of ways people do this. Like for me, instantly I learned, okay, well, what do I not want in a relationship based on what the other person did? Yeah. And then, a year or so later, I started doing some inner reflection and being like, all right, well, what about me probably caused them to do this action that I didn't like? So what can I change about me? As where some people, they take all the blame first and they'll be like, all right, well, I must have done something wrong. What did I do wrong? And then hopefully those people can also recognize that they probably, because I think it always takes two.
It always takes two. I mean, there's two sides to every story. It's not like it's a one-sided thing. Even if one side had more impact on it, there's always two sides of it. Like, there's no way there couldn't be. Like, my side of a story is completely probably different than their side of a story. Different perspectives, different things happen or are seen. Yeah. So it's like, and that's just like, again, with everything. Like, any situation, there's always more than one side of things.
100%. I feel like I gotta regurgitate this because I heard it recently, and I feel like I've told everybody this in like the past week because to me it was so like I don't know, it hit home for me. Yeah. But what you're saying is kind of like how I took from this. Basically, because you said every side has different perspectives, different stories. I saw something, oddly enough, it was on Twitter. So, don't get your standards of living from Twitter. But this was really impactful for me. It said, and it apparently was from a psychologist, but who knows? Yeah. It said, anybody's behavior makes sense with enough information. And that kind of got me thinking. I was like, you know what? If I really think about it, all the times I've been frustrated with what somebody's done, if I've actually took it upon myself to learn about why they did that, I can start to, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And maybe I don't agree with it, but it's like, well, no one's going to intentionally, be irrational. No one's going to intentionally fuck you over. But if you have the same mindset and you get the same information that they have and you see things the same way they see it, you might have done the same thing. Yeah. But you don't. You see it from your perspective. Maybe you're not getting all the information they have. So obviously you're going to see it as irrational or hurtful. Yeah. And that, I don't know. That's just, I thought it was a really interesting thought.
Wait, can you say it one more time?
The quote I saw? Yeah. Anybody or any behavior makes sense with enough information.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Do you like that? Or?
I like that. I do. That's nice and that's good.
It's just, I don't know. Because like you said, everyone has different perspectives. So I might get mad at you for doing something, not knowing that maybe you heard something else that impacted you to do such a thing. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? Like, that's fucking irrational. That's crazy. But I didn't know what you knew. Yeah. So, yeah. If that makes any sense. I kind of being vague.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's just understanding that, like, everyone has a reason for what they do, and even if and it can be completely different from someone else's reason, mm-hmm. Like, not everyone's going to agree with everything. Like, there's a lot of things that I've probably done with tattoo-wise that a lot of people wouldn't agree, but don't know the full story of why I've got them.
Exactly.
And that's fine.
That's a good example.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't bother me. If you don't fuck with it, you don't fuck with it. And, like, that's not, like, but if I told you the story on it, it's happened many times with a lot of, like, I'd say conservative people, like older generations. Not saying they're all bad like that, but like they would kind of like come at me and they'd like say something and then they would ask and I would explain, and by the end of that they would understand and like be like, that's actually really badass. Like, thank you for like telling us. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it was a nice, at least for me, the reason why I got them was to like open doors for conversations that like for some people wouldn't be asked, like, I mean, I feel like a face tattoo, I mean, nowadays it's kind of normal, but when I had gotten it, it was like more of like and then how I was raised, it was like, you don't do that, like, that's not okay, like, tattoos in general are like kind of like frowned upon, right? So I did it, and I got it, and I I left the shop and I was so super excited after, but then I left the shop and I got in my car and I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, I was like, I'm gonna run away. Like, I'm gonna just change my life. And then I like sat there and realized that, like, you know what? Like, people aren't gonna like this. Like, but like I've put it on me to my duty. It's to not necessarily educate, but like make some people feel a little more comfortable with it, because I feel like it's a very intense thing. Like, a face tattoo is a little like, it's out there. Like, I don't recommend it to everyone, because it is it can stop a lot of, like, I guess, careers. And that was another,
unfortunately.
Like, unfortunately, very. But it was also for me like a thing that, like, I didn't want to go into anything that would necessarily control my appearance. Mm-hmm. So doing it was like my way of like having people understand that, like, you can be a cool fucking person and like a respectful and honest and like be a genuine human being and still have these more out there like tattoos aren't that bad. Like, tattoos are
not bad at all.
Not at all. Like, it's just art. Expression. Yeah. It's literally all it is. It's like putting a sticker on a notebook, but it's on your body. Like, it's each one tells a story, even if it doesn't. Like, all your tattoos, like, it happened at a pinnacle time, or not even pinnacle, but a point in your life where now you can look at it and be like, fuck, like, I remember the feelings I was feeling during that, like, that time of my life.
Yeah, just like if you have a song that, you know, was heavy during a certain point in your life, now every time the song plays, you're like, oh, shit. Either it's a good oh, shit, or it's like, oh, shit. Yeah. Kind of a sad oh, shit. But it's like, it brings you back. It's like a memory. It's what it is. It's a memory. So
it's fucking beautiful.
And I get that with tattoos, but I definitely would say it's from my experience, it's the older crowd who's kind of like, oh, why would you ruin your skin? Why would you do that? It's like, whatever.
There was one time I just had like these two little, like this one, and this old man had come into like my job and he was like, let me see your wrist, boy. And I was like, just propped them out. Like, these are the only two I had. I was like, yeah, like, here they are. And he goes, did your daddy give you a good licking for those? And I was like, God. I was like, no. I was like, he got one with me. I was like, I don't know. He goes, God thought you were beautiful before, but now I don't think so. And I was
because this guy's God.
I was like, okay. I was like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I honestly, like, I find it kind of funny, like, that people are so, like, strong on that. And it's just, like, it kind of cracks me up. And, like, in those situations, like, I'm very bad with, like, uncomfortable situations.
Okay.
I laugh.
Okay.
I laugh and I can't help it.
That can definitely piss some people off.
But I feel like I can handle it where, like, I can talk myself out of it, you know? Like, where it's, like, I can communicate. I respect everyone's opinions, even if they're not what I agree with.
Yeah.
Or if they're, like, even mean. Like, you can say some really messed up things to me, and I'm like, that's how you feel. Like, that's how you feel. Like, I'm not going to control or, like, defend myself if you feel that way. Like, that's not my job. Like, it's all like, mirrored. Like,
it's a personal thing.
Exactly. It's all on them. Like, it takes more out of me to explain myself for them, you know? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my time.
Have you ever, so first off, why did you get a face tattoo then?
Well, I got it for the reason of, like, I mean, it was something I've always wanted. It was a weird, like, wanting since 12. Like I had said before, like, it's been something that I, like, I don't know, like, I kind of, like, was like, I want to get this at one point in my life. Like, and then it started to, like, struck me, like, and it was like, I want to get something that, like, it cuts ties from anything that I didn't want to do. Like, to settle, right? Yeah. Like, it was my way of being, like, I have to work for what I want. Like, I have to really put in the work. And it was like my little, like, all right, well, like, you're getting this, and, like, you can't just go settle for, like, a corporate job or, like, something that's gonna be like, you can't have tattoos or something. I mean, now it's kind of different, but, like, it's still, like, it's lingering still.
Yeah, but even if it is, like, let's say you eventually do want a corporate job and they hire you because of it, well, then you're helping change, like, the stigma attached to it.
Very true. Very true.
It can either force you to go something that's more artistic, or if you do go into corporate and somebody accepts you for it, then, hey, you're helping change that stigma.
Yeah.
So, but have you, and I'm just curious, have you ever, like, when somebody asked you, like, hey, what does this tattoo mean? Felt like...
Insecure?
Maybe insecure is the word, like, to tell them why.
Yeah.
Like, what it means, like, why you got it.
I mean, that's Yeah.
Not just for this one, but any tattoo.
Yeah, well, like, that's another thing I feel like is like the stigma with it. Like, you have to have meaning behind your tattoos, right? And like, I mean, I do, thankfully, with this one, and it's been reworked as I grow because like,
yeah,
I mean,
and that's what I like, that you can rework meanings too.
Yeah. But like, yeah, there's been times like I also like I get kind of defensive because depending on how someone comes off, like with their tone, it can sound super asshole-ish or like dickheadery.
Yeah. We both use that word now. I don't know if it's a word,
but it's just like I do kind of feel that way sometimes. And like there was a time like at work, like I was just chilling, like doing the ordering and stuff for my job, and a guy came up and he was like, "Do you have any tattoos?"
This was before you had visible tattoos.
No, this is when I had visible. This was literally like a couple weeks ago. Like he was a little drunk. Like
so
I was
that's
just
already
sitting
pissed
there.
me off. It's like, clearly I have tattoos.
Like, the fuck? Like I have tattoos. Like, okay. And he was, "What does it say?" And I was like, "It says I love you." And he was like, "You don't even know me." And I was like, come on. Like I'm just chilling here. Like right now. Like I'm having.
Yeah, then show him this one.
Yeah. Like yeah. Like fuck off, having this. Yeah. But I was like, I'm just chilling. Like I'm just trying to enjoy my beer, like my shift beer, and like get this ordering done and leave. And he was just like, at the end of it, he did apologize, but it was also like, there's times where it's just like, I don't like explaining myself. I don't feel like I have to explain myself. And it's a thing that like, another thing I've been working on is like explaining yourself. Like it's you don't have to. You don't have to have a reason for saying no. You don't have to have a reason for anything that you get, because it's no one else's business. So just like the simple, like that's another thing I over explain a lot. Like, and I've been called out for it by friends, and they're like, "Dude, like chill out. Like you said too much. Like you don't need to say all that." Like, cause like I get so anxious with things, and so I ramble, or like with texting, like it's just like constant. So like it's a thing that like I've been working on where like I don't have to explain, and like being okay with not explaining, like setting boundaries with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was at first it was a lot harder, but I feel like the face tattoo did bring a lot of backbone into me, where like now like I don't care what people think. Like people are going to think whatever they think. I get stared at a lot for it, and it's like before, like I used to hate being stared at, and like now it's just like,
take a picture, bitch.
Yeah, like you like it, here you go. But there's also people that are like, "Oh, you make me want to get a face tattoo," and I'm like, nah, I don't know if you want to do that. Like that's a commitment. Like that's a huge thing. It's
a lifestyle.
Yeah, like you. I don't know if you really want to do that. Like, because I mean, I do still get like anxious about it. There's been times where I was like, maybe like, do I want to get rid of this? Like, do I want this? But at the end of the day, it's just like it's part of me now. Like I'm not gonna get rid of it. Like it means a lot to me. But it is like there's like meeting new people, or like meeting parents, especially like in the like the dating world. It's just like what are they gonna think? Like I'm gonna think, but it's internal. It's all internal, and it's all just me and like in my head about it, of like caring too much of what others think of me. And it's like
I feel I empathize with that, because so you said two things that are contradicting, but I agree with them.
Okay.
You said, and I'm not calling you out.
No,
I swear. You're like, so you and I could be wrong, but you said you get some of the tattoos you got to kind of start conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then you said you don't like to explain it to some people.
Yeah.
So it's contradicting.
That is contradicting.
But I would agree. Like, you know, so far all of my tattoos have meaning. Like I told you, I do want some that are just artistic, and I have meaning behind them, because that way when people ask, I can explain them. But to your point, like sometimes when people ask, and I don't know if insecure is the word, but it's almost like I get prejudice, and I think that they're just going to be a dick about it. So it's like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to tell you anyway. Like, it does mean a lot to me, and you can say whatever you want. It's not going to change what it means to me.
Yeah.
But I almost don't even want to deal with it. Even though, like, sometimes the people who've asked me are, like, good friends where I know, like, they actually do care what it's about. Or, like, sometimes people come off very authentic, like, oh, like, they seem very curious. And I still feel like, oh, well, what if I tell them what it's about? And they're like, oh, it's kind of phony, or it's kind of lame. And I'm like, oh, but I won't do it. But it's so weird, because typically I don't really give a shit what people think about me. Like, unless it's like, you know, one of my brothers, like my best friends, and they say some shit that I might get a little hurt. But like a stranger or somebody I barely know, they don't like what I'm doing, or they don't fuck with what I'm doing, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But when it comes to tattoos, I think it's because it means so much to me. Like some of these mean so much to me that, like, I'll explain. I'll be like, oh, kind of like head down, explain, like, do you think this is cool? Do you fuck with it? Because it's a piece of me. And so if they don't fuck with it, I'm like, oh shit, well, then they don't get it, but I want them to get it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
So it's contradicting, but like I want to have conversation about them, but I really hope people like it.
Yeah, it's like I want to have conversation. Like I don't mind talking about it, but it's like also like there's times where it's just like
you can tell.
I'm either you can tell, or I'm just not in the mood to explain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, and then some of them are just kind of like silly, like I don't know, but
and that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but I just have like all just in my head of like overthinking and just being like caring too much when it's like you don't need to care. All you got to care about is yourself and what you're doing. For
sure. No, I agree. I have one tattoo that I got drunk. It was this one. Now, granted, Love is my favorite Kid Cudi song, and that song means a lot to me. So there is meaning behind it. But I got this in the South Side Chicago. I was like real heavy in the drinking that day. And I got it from a guy named Snake. Like his business card says Snake. It was a South Side Chicago in like a house.
Yeah.
I paid like $20 for it. And... Dude, real quick story here. So if you look at it, like it's like different, like the L and the O and the VE, they're all like different, like thicknesses. And
was it with a machine? You don't remember?
It was, but it was not like a machine, like a normal machine. So I get in there, real quick. First off, we took like a bike taxi back. Like we were at a music festival, took a bike taxi back. Like that part's irrelevant. Either way, we get to this point because I looked it up on Google to see what tattoo shops were open. It was probably around 11:30, 12. And there's this one that had really good reviews. It was open for another half hour. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll do it. It's very quick. Okay. Go in there. They're like, oh, we won't do it. I'm like, is there anywhere around here that'll do a tattoo? And when I keep going south, there's a place around the block. I'm like, okay. I was drunk, so I was like, whatever. I go there, right? I walk past the place like 3 times because I'm like, all I see are like fucking houses. I'm like, where is this place? And then like I was like, well, the GPS is saying it's that place. So I go in there. The door's open. It's just this guy. It looks like a pawn shop. Like there's just like shit everywhere. I'm like, hey, do you do tattoos? He goes, yeah, we can do tattoos. I'm like, we can do tattoos? What the fuck does that mean? Like,
that's an option.
Do you normally do them? So I walk in there. And like it was actually my boss at the time from work. Yeah. He was with me, and so he left to go get food. I'm literally sitting there. I'm like, already regretting it. But I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm just gonna do it. I was like, yeah, I'm just looking to get something small, just the word love, lowercase with a period. He goes, do you have a picture? I'm like, dude, I fucking kid you not. I'm like, no, but like just LOVE. So I mean, he was Mexican, so I mean, he spoke good English, but I would assume he would know what love was. So I'm like, no, I don't have a picture. He's like, well, I can't draw it then. I'm like, all right. So I just Googled love, like just a word. And I was like, how about this? He goes, okay. He's like, how do I get that? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I need to print it out so I can draw on you. And I'm like, okay, do you have like an email I can send this to you? So I said it. The whole ordeal took like a long time. And he finally prints it out, and it's like, it's like super, super small. And I'm like, I need it bigger. So I had to show him how to use Word to like fucking build it up. Either way, he gets it out.
And you still got the tattoo.
I know. That's how drunk I was. He's like, the whole time he's getting this ready, he's like, so where are you from? I said, and then we're in Chicago. Yeah. And I said, oh, I'm from Michigan. He points to, there's a map there. He points to California. He goes, right there. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. I'm like, this is not going to be a good tattoo. I'm like, no, right by you. I'm like, just right there. Either way, we sit down. We go over to like where the tattoo was gonna be. He undid like a fold-out chair, and I was like, oh, that's where I'm gonna sit, right? Yeah. He sits down. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally just like on a knee, like, go ahead, you can get this, and he's doing the tattoo. I didn't even feel it, and that could be because I'm drunk, but I also think the needle he was using was like a push needle, but it was a little bit automated. It was really skinny. Interesting. And then he gets like which must have been like the LOV or the EOV. Like it was either L or the E that he was missing. He goes, hey, I can't reach that. I'm not left-handed. Can you move your neck? And I'm like, my neck's attached to my body. How do I move my neck? So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to have to do the other hand for this letter. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So that's why it's all fucked up. But that's my drunk tattoo story.
But it honestly, it looks really good. I mean, at least when you showed me, I thought that's how it was supposed to be. Like
a little fucked up.
I mean, it looks kind of like just character. Like writing. Like it's just like, you know, messy writing.
Yeah, it is definitely messy writing. But, you know, if somebody doesn't know, if you say you want the word love and they don't know what it looks like, leave. Yeah. But I forgot why I was telling that story. Either way, going back to something you were saying, a couple different times you mentioned kind of like getting anxious.
Yeah.
Just a question. Have you ever thought about like the difference between like being anxious and being excited?
Yeah.
What do you think that difference is?
Excited is just like a feeling of joy, like though. Like it's like extended and just like overwhelming joy. Anxiety and anxious is just like, for me at least, like quivering almost. Like I shake a lot. I get really like overwhelmed and just like in my head. I can get irritated very quickly. Like I can't think properly. Excited, I can think. Like I can still like have thoughts and like be like interactive with things. Where anxiety, like I get very like much in my head and like I just sit there and I'm just like I don't know what to say. Like, did I mess up? Or I'll say something and then I'm just like in my head and then like I'm overthinking everything and then like as I'm trying to like communicate with people, it just like isn't flowing. Like I don't flow. It's like static energy just throughout your body. Joy is excited is just like watching fireworks, right? Where it's just like you're in amazement. Like you're like so you're ready to go. You're like, yeah, like this is great. Like this is great. And then anxiety is just like, I don't really know what to do. And then I start shaking and I'm just like I can feel it in my stomach and like in my throat and I'm just like and then I get in like head and I'm like, what do they think about me? Like am I like what? And it's just like a big like just mudslide.
So how do things go from being exciting to being worthy of being anxious? Like for your face tattoo, you said right when you got it, you were super excited.
Yeah.
And then it slid into, oh, I'm anxious about it. Why?
It was the excitement of finally doing it. Like I had talked to myself, like I was like, dude, like I've talked about wanting a face tattoo, but I've never gone to a tattoo shop to ask if they would do it. And it was just like, it was an exciting feeling of like overcoming and conquering that goal and like doing what I said I would do, being like true to my word. And then it like hit me with the anxiety of like, oh fuck, like what's next now? Like I was excited for the whole event, but anxious for what to come.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So what I'm drawing from what your story is, and you know, I'm definitely like no psychologist, I'd be a fucking idiot, right? Yeah. But it sounds like for you, and I would say, I kind of recognize this in myself. Excitement is, you know, something you're looking forward to, or something that like affects you, right? You were excited about it because you wanted it.
Yeah.
Anxiety from these stories kind of sound like something that you're waiting on what somebody else thinks about it.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact event. You got your tattoo, you were excited about it. Same exact event, you got your tattoo, and now you're anxious about it.
Yeah.
Because one of them affected you, one of them affected what people perceive of you.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, you know, I never really, it's not like some like profound discovery I just had, but I never thought about it that way. Like, for example, you know, speaking in front of a class or of an audience.
Yeah.
I would always be excited to do those things because, you know, you get to share your opinion. You get to share what you were doing. And, like, obviously, if you were passionate about whatever you're doing, you're excited to share with people. But then you get a little bit anxious because you're like, well,
what if they
don't like it?
Yeah.
So, at least that's the conclusion I'm drawing, is that excitement is, like, something that, you know, is in the future that you've looked forward to. And you're excited because it impacts you.
Yeah. Excitement is for you, and anxiety is from what you feel like others may think of you.
Yeah, and that could be totally wrong, but that's just what I got from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. And it's weird. It's like I can be so back and forth with things. Yeah. It's like I can be so confident yet so insecure. I can be so happy yet so sad. And it's like there's so many different like areas where it's like I can be on the highest of the high, but on the lowest of the low scale. It's at the same exact time. Mm-hmm. And that's even like when you said contradicting. I do that a lot. It's a thing that I can't help. Like I'll say something, but then I'll be like, but also like, I mean, I see the other side of things, and I'll go into that. Like I like to think I'm very balanced with it, but it's also at times like it's contradicting. That's what it is. Like it's like I'm very like well, like this works out, but also
Yeah.
I see like just with everything, it's just like I don't know, like I agree with everyone's things, but it's also like I have my own things with that agreement.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I feel honestly pretty similar to you. But I really I have like this internal battle of that exact thing. Of some people think if you're contradicting, you agree with both sides of the parties.
Yeah.
That you're nice, that you agree. Some people see it as, well, you don't take a point, you don't have an opinion because you don't have a strong stance on something, and that's one thing that I really have a hard time with myself is like, I'd like to think I'm understanding and I can empathize and see all sides of the parties, but at the same time, when people say, oh, well, you must not have your own opinion, you're not very passionate about anything, you're not very strong-willed about anything, I'm like, oh, fuck, well, I feel like I am, but do you ever have that internal battle of like, well, why do I feel,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. It's like, at least for me, it's like I have the battle of like, everyone always has such like a strong opinion. I feel like a lot of people just have such a strong opinion on things, and like they have like things that they're super passionate about, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like I have those, but it's also like I feel like I have so many. Like I'm always trying to like look for something new and just like see different views and like just go about it. Like it's not like I'm structured on like one set thing. Like I can hear what someone's arguing to me, and it could literally change my entire argument of like how I feel about that. Like I could have a stance. They come at me with something, and it could change what I'm not necessarily like me going to what they say, but then it would also like it helps create what I'm like going in. It's not like a solid thing, like a solid stance that like I take, but like I don't know. It's just nice to hear other people's like views and opinions. Like I don't feel like everyone has to have like a set like stance on everything. Like
Yeah.
You should be able to be open minded and like take them all and just kind of be freely with it. Like I don't know.
So you see it more as being open-minded instead of like, weak with your beliefs.
Yeah. No, I would say it's a strength of being open-minded, being able to understand and like recognize others' opinions and others' views instead of being like, oh, well, like I don't have that view, like, or like they're pressuring me with these things. It's like I'm willing to like listen. I feel like it's a strength to be able to like understand others. Like, I mean, if you're so dead set on something and someone's completely on a different page with you, it's not gonna go well. It's gonna crash, right? Like, I mean, you both have our head on. Like, you both have your things and your head on. It's better to be like kind of like someone maybe more stronger, like opinionated with things and being able to be open. It's like instead of being that wall that you're running into, be the tunnel where they can easily go through, and then you can listen and just make it an enjoyable ride instead of a crash.
Yeah. No, I think that takes a lot of maturity, and I like that you said that. And honestly, that's one thing, again, being that it takes maturity, I think it's something that you learn as you go. At least I did. Yeah. Like, for example, I had this buddy, and this is a good story, so I can share his name, Wes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you know of Wes, but very, very cool guy. Growing up, he was always somebody who would avoid conflict. Yeah. And, like, as teenagers and, middle schoolers, which I guess are teenagers, lots of times, like, a clique of friends would have, like, beef with somebody else, right? And you just kind of expect your boys to have your back. Yeah. And he would always just stay out of the beef. Oh. And, when I was younger, I was like, why is this guy, he's got no fucking backbone. He won't stick up for anybody. We're his boys. He's supposed to stick up for us. And now I've kind of grown to admire how he did that, because no one hates him. But he would never be dissed on by anybody, because he'd always just kind of play the middle ground and, still support us. But like, hey, I'm not going to go fight your battle. I'm not going to go talk shit to this person because you felt wronged by them. Yeah. And I always thought that I was like so like just weak and just, yo, you're my friend, support me. But I think it's actually very mature, and I admire that about him.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's a hard thing to do.
It is. Like. Especially if you have your friends, like, we would always give him shit, like, yo, stick up, like, fucking have a backbone. Yeah. And he would just stand his ground and say, I'm not getting involved in it. Yeah. And I just admire that so much, because it's not his drama. Why is he, like, he can still support you and not, go out and fuck with the other person. Just listen to it and be like, yeah, all right, yeah. I'm not going to get involved because it doesn't involve me. Yeah. I think that's actually very mature to do. So.
It's a solid thing to do. I mean, you gotta, it's more of like seeing things on a bigger picture, like scale, right? Like you're not just viewing like the energy that is being created there. Like you're viewing that like this can impact a lot more than like you would really want. Like you shouldn't. For me, like I don't try to get into people's drama. Like if someone has a problem with someone, then I'm close with them. Like that's not my problem. Like I have a relationship with people, and like you have a relationship with people.
Yeah.
If you mess up that relationship with people, that's not on me to help you fix or like go through. Like I'm gonna keep my relationship with the people that like if I'm cool with. But if you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with that.
Yep.
It's not anything that I did. It's all on like your guys' thing. Like bringing other people into that is kind of like it's kind of silly, and it's like you're adding on to something that's unnecessary.
Yeah, and you're definitely a practicer of what you preach, because you and Care, because you were at that Jane Smith concert that I went to, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, not all parties were at a good head. Like, you know, somebody I was fighting with was there, right? And you and Keaton both did a very good job of, hey, that's your guys' shit. Yeah. I'm going to be cool with you. I'm going to be cool with you. We're going to have a good time. You guys don't want to be cool with each other. That's whatever. So you definitely are. You practice what you preach. So he's not bullshitting anybody. I just needed to recognize you for that, because I did appreciate that, because at the time I was like, oh, I'm fucked because all of you guys are more of this person's friend. Yeah. And this is just not going to be enjoyable for me. Yeah. And you guys made it. You know, it felt to me like you went out of your way to try to make me feel and her feel, you know, included, and like, hey, for a night, we're cool. Yeah, that's all it needs. I mean, whatever happens in any moment, like there's no need to bring it up. Also, especially when it is someone else's business. I'm not gonna act a certain way because like someone has a problem with someone. If we get along and we're cool. I can't help that. Like, I mean, that's just how it goes. I'm not going to make things awkward or uncomfortable. That's one of my biggest things. And I notice it, like, at gatherings. If someone's uncomfortable or someone's not having a good time or they're just in a bad mood, it really bothers me. Mm-hmm. And I try my best to include and to make sure that people feel good. Like, because that's all that matters. Like, you don't want to have someone have a shitty time. Yeah. Like, that's not fun. Now they have a bad memory of something. Like, be someone who can help boost someone's mood. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a huge thing for like that people need to do. It's just like, I mean, I know some people just like their time, like, you know, but also like at least try including, at least ask them if they're feeling okay, or like talk to them for a bit, or just like sit by them, you know. Like some people don't want to talk, some people just want to chill and just kind of be on their own, but like at least be semi-including. You know, like you see someone off in the distance, don't be like just ignoring them. Yeah, because truthfully, like, I've been that way where like I've just done my own thing and like no one's really noticed or like said anything, and it's just like you kind of need someone to say something, you know, like you need someone to like approach. And that's why everyone turns to their phone at the party, because like they're feeling awkward. It's like, yo, somebody go talk to them. Yeah. See, that's dope, and I think to me, what you're saying you do, that's what it actually means to be cool. That's to me the coolest thing about somebody is when you can just. You fucking care, and not only do you care, but you try to make people feel good. Yeah. One thing about working in a corporate world is sometimes you get some good advice. And what somebody once told me is that there's energy givers and there's energy takers. And it's... Oh, so true. And that's so true. And I was like, yo, that's fucking dope. Like, yeah, there is. Like, you don't always have to be in a good mood, whatever, but there's definitely people that I'm sure everybody can think of where it's like, every time I'm with them, I leave exhausted because it just takes so much energy to just listen to their bullshit. Yeah. But there's also people, and I've referenced this before I work on the podcast too. There's people who I've worked with or I'm friends with, and every time they show up, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like I'm like, yeah, let's go to war for this person, because I always feel so good when I'm with them. Yeah. And sometimes it's the way they say things. Sometimes it's just the way they carry themselves. Sometimes it's just that they're smiling. But it's also things like you were saying. You see somebody at a party or just in an event where they're not maybe involved as much as, you know, most people want to be. Mm-hmm. You recognize that and you just fucking say, hey, what's up? And you just strike up a conversation. That's the type of people who are energy givers, and I fucking try my best to be that, because I think that's what I love seeing in other people. So I like what you're saying. I try my best. I can't say it's all the time. Sometimes, you know, we're human. We're human. We have our things. Like sometimes I just want to be left alone as well. Yeah. Don't we all? But, you know, and it's not like I go to many like parties or anything, but like when it does happen, like I do try to like involve and be involved, and like
don't know, it makes an experience a lot better when everyone's having a good time, you know? Like, you don't want to go to somewhere and be like, yeah, this is great, but also, like, Jeff's in the back kind of, like, moping, you know? Like, that's not right. Like, I feel like you should try to include Jeff. Like, bring Jeff to the party. Like, even if he's not feeling right, like, kind of like, or you bring the party to him.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe Jeff's being an asshole, but maybe he has a reason. And if you just let him get it out, then he won't be an asshole anymore.
Yeah.
But you got to at least try to get Jeff involved.
Yeah, exactly.
For some reason, the name Jeff's really fucking making me lose it. But no, that's, I mean, fuck, what were you saying? Fucking, all I can think of is my name's Jeff, like from 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street. But you were saying something that I really was like, yes, I embody that, or I embody that. I'm not narcissistic. I really identify with that. Oh, fuck. You were saying, what were you just saying?
I was talking about Jeff, man. Just bringing the party to Jeff. Can I ask you this thing though?
Yeah.
So you had, I had like listened to a video, and it's not like I'm not trying to like. I was just more just curious.
Yeah.
You had brought up narcissism before.
Okay.
And then you just kind of brought it up. Like, do you feel like you not necessarily struggle with it, but like you try your best not to be narcissistic? And also, what does narcissistic mean to you?
Good question. Never really thought about that. So I will say, I'm very cognizant. I do kind of walk on eggshells so people don't think I'm narcissistic, because I will say, I've been like, I'm trying to think of like what grade, probably up until 10th grade. I was always outgoing, but I was always very insecure because I was very short and I was very, very scrawny.
I see, and that's what I don't get with you. Because,
but I'm not anymore.
I know, but even in high school, I don't know, you always just seemed like you just had your shit. Like, you were fucking cool all the time to me. Like, I wouldn't want to say, like, I mean, I did, like, look up. Like, not envy or anything, but you were always, like, a really fucking cool person that I always wanted to get to know.
Oh, dude, you're going to make me fucking tear up. I appreciate that. Seriously. But, no, I mean, but to answer your question, no, that's kind of what it was, is I was very, like, I resented people who were confident.
Yeah.
And so anybody that was confident, I would fucking write off as narcissistic or arrogant.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a difference between confidence and arrogance and narcissism.
For sure.
And so, but I used to incorporate them as one, because I'm like, well, I want that. And so I was kind of like out of jealousy, like, oh, well, you're arrogant. But then like 10th grade came around and I got a girlfriend and I went through puberty, so I got a little bit taller. Still not tall, but I got a little bit taller. And then I started hitting the gym, and I'm still like pretty scrawny, but I, at least got some muscle tone. So point being, from like 10th grade until about sophomore year of college, I went through this like period of, am I insecure or am I confident? And now I actually am confident. Like, I think I'm pretty cool.
As you should.
Thank you. I actually recognize, like, I think I'm pretty cool. I think I'm pretty open-minded. One thing I'm very confident in is I know I'm a good friend to people who are good friends to me. I feel pretty good with my image, my body. But because I always used to attribute like confidence with narcissism or with arrogance, I try not to like put out too much that I am confident, because I don't want to be seen as narcissistic. Yeah. And I don't think I am narcissistic or arrogant.
I would never expect. I don't see that in you as well, and that's why like it kind of like when you had been like when I was listening to one of your podcasts, I like you had talked about it kind of, or you mentioned it, and like just hearing it again, and I was just like I don't know, like I get that. Like for a while, like I struggled with that, and like I don't want to be overbearing, but like I'm confident too, and it's like there's nothing wrong with being confident. Like there's nothing wrong with like owning who you are and stuff, but it also comes into play of like, am I being too much with it?
And then you get insecure about your confidence. So it's like you shouldn't be. Confidence is something that I wish everybody had, because it makes things a lot easier. But to your point, or to what you said earlier, I get in my head about it where it's like, well, yeah, I'm confident, but I don't want to be more than that. And like, for example, I mean, for one thing I would recognize is from you now to high school, you've come into your own when it comes to style and fashion, which I fucking dig, dude. Like, I love your style, and everyone has different styles that they could pull off. I couldn't pull off a face tab, but you fucking can, and it's awesome. I love your Instagram. I'm like, yo, this guy's artistic as fuck. I love it.
Thank you.
And I would say, in my own way, I've always kind of tried to have my own style and do these things, and it's different from yours, but it's something that I liked. But people would always be like, "Oh, you're being fucking weird." Like, and I'm using my brothers as an example, but I know they're just giving me shit because they're my older brothers. But they'd be like, why do you have just a mustache? Like, it's fucking, you pedo. Or why do you wearing a pink shirt? Like,
hey,
what?
That mustache was solid, man.
Hey,
that was a good era right there. This the mustache.
I never was able to grow facial hair, but no. But so it's like, I don't want to be like, well, I'm wearing it because I like it, because what arrogant asshole would say that? But that's why I'm wearing it, because I like it. And if you don't fuck with it, I really don't care. But I feel like people who don't care what other people think are arrogant. So I try to be like, I don't know. I have a very internal battle between arrogance and confidence. Yeah. And I never really thought about it until you asked me that question. So good question. I don't even know if I gave you an answer.
No, I mean, hey, anything's an answer, really. As long as you're explaining yourself. Can't really not say that's not an answer. But, like, I don't know. I feel like I've always said that, like, now, before it used to just be insecurities, but now I am insecure of my confidence. Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but yeah, it makes sense to me, dude.
Because it's like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't want, again, like, I get what you mean where it sounds like narcissistic or something to, like, talk about it, but it's also, like, at times, I don't feel like I'm the best looking, right, or like something, but I've gotten a lot of compliments, and I've been told by a lot of people, and, like, got into arguments about my looks and my charm, I would say. But it's also, like, now that I've heard that, it makes it more, like, it makes me feel insecure when someone looks at me and I think, oh, they're looking at me because I'm attractive. Because that's probably not it at all. It's probably they're just staring or something where it's like, but now it's like something in my head, and maybe that is me being narcissistic.
No, I don't think it's narcissist. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it is. But, dude, I feel what you're saying. Like, yeah, dude, there would be times where... And I could be taking what you're saying and misconstruing it, but if I'm getting you correctly, there'd be times like, where I'd be like at the gym and be like, oh, this girl's looking at me.
Exactly, yeah.
And I mean, I know it's probably, maybe I'm doing something that looks like a fucking idiot, and maybe that's why she's looking at me. Maybe I'd be like, oh, she probably thinks I'm hot.
Yeah.
But it's not true. Or it could be, but I don't know.
I do it in the car a lot, honestly. Yeah. Like, I'll be driving and like people stare and I'm like, they think I'm hot.
Or like you ever put like a really fresh outfit, like you think is really fresh, and like you're walking like the mall and like, dude, everyone's looking at me.
Everyone's when really fucking with
probably
it.
Either no one is, or like maybe you got like a fucking stain on your shirt,
or it genuinely is that. Yeah,
But I will say, I think it's better to have those thoughts than everyone's looking at me because I'm a piece of shit. Or like I look
very true,
because I had those thoughts where everyone was looking at me like it's like or like lots of times this is like one of those microaggressions. People would say this. And it made me feel really shitty if, like, oh, you're so cute. I'd be like, I want to be handsome or sexy. Don't call me cute. That makes you feel, I was short. I looked young. I hated that. Yeah. And even to this day, when somebody calls me cute, I'm like, fuck you. Don't call me cute. But I would rather have the thoughts of, oh, everyone's looking at me when no one is. Yeah. Or they're not looking at me for the reasons I think they are. Instead of, taking pity on myself and feel like, oh, I'm short. I'm little. No one likes me. Like, it's better to be overconfident than underconfident, I think.
Oh, for sure, definitely. But it is also like at times it can be a little like, am I being too much about it? Like,
but I think the reason that I don't think you or myself are narcissistic is because we at least recognize that there's a possibility that they don't think that way, and we can laugh about it. As where I think real narcissists. There's no other reason people can be staring at them except for that they are like the supreme being. Yeah. I think that's what makes you narcissistic. Yeah. But if somebody listening disagrees, tell us. Because someone could be listening like, someone's watching like, those guys are ugly as fuck, dude. Fucking idiots. But
what the fuck are you talking about?
No, but I mean, I think it's good. I'm at a point in my life where I feel like,
because obviously not everyone's gonna find us attractive. That's a given. Not every single person on this earth is gonna be like, damn, those are two attractive guys, Like everyone has types.
That's true. But then when you bag a hot girlfriend like I did, hey, it makes you I feel validated. I feel like, you know what?
No, I feel that,
I'm like, I am pretty hot dude. I got, whatever. She wouldn't like me for no reason.
Exactly.
So
that's what I have to like, I think about it too, where it's like, me and her, we're good, but like sometimes I'm like, man, like do I got it? And then I'm like, well, obviously she's here, so I fucking got it. Like, obviously she likes me for a reason. And, like, I don't know. That's another kind of, like, thing that plays into my head is just, like, it's just insecurities, I guess. Of, like,
yes, dude.
It's just that internal thought that, like, you just have to, like, shut up. Like, you put on Do Not Disturb. Because that internal, like, what's the correct word? Just, like, the voice in your head. Like, I've heard so much. Maybe conscious. I mean, there's just like you know, the voice in your head that you're just thinking. I've read so much that like it's just not, that's not you, and it's like you, like your brain trying to like
second guess yourself.
Yeah, and like just kind of like steer the boat, you know, and it's like you have to
let
realize,
me draw
like,
the boat.
Yeah, let me draw the boat. Okay, let me draw the boat. But like it's like you have to understand that that's not what's there's a bigger thing to it. Like you are in control. It's hard to really understand that and be like I've had like thoughts and I'm like fuck like did I say the right thing or like am I like, and it starts going, like the wheels start turning and like all these like negative things start happening, and it's like I do it vocally, like I'm very vocal with myself, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like stop thinking like that. Like that's not the case at all. Like chill out, like take a breath, like relax. People probably think I'm crazy because I literally I talk to myself about it.
So have you gotten better at like fighting back that inner thought?
Oh, definitely. Oh, so much.
What's made you like, I guess, realize that you had to do that? Or how have you learned to do that? How have you recognized that was an issue and you had to stop like, you know, fighting it more?
Honestly, like I have to like it happened really in quarantine. Like that's when I finally was like I need to really work on like my inner like monologue. I think that's what I was looking for, like with my inner thoughts. I mean, the quarantine was a rough thing, but it was also like it was a very beneficial thing for me to like cocoon myself and just like work on like what were my like flaws mentally with myself. And like I realized that like I'm a huge overthinker. Any little thing I will overthink until the very fucking worst thing that could happen from that. And it was like I realized it wasn't me, but it was like the inner thoughts that like I were just letting run around, and like understanding that like your brain's always going. It's always on the fucking move. It's always thinking things, and it's always trying to like I said, steer the fucking boat. Like it's trying to just take control. And like I feel like when you realize that like you are your maker. You are in control of what you want to do and what you would like to do, right? Like you are in control, but at the time like I don't feel like what we're taught that we're in control. We just kind of like follow our thoughts. We like listen to these things that go on in our head and like
trust your gut.
Yeah, and it's just like if you want something to change it. If thoughts start to come up about it, evaluate it. Think of what you're thinking and ask yourself, is that the truth? You know, like even with like what we were talking about, like, oh, like yeah, we're attractive, but it's like also like it gets into the play of like, am I attractive? Like, do people actually like fuck with me?
Yeah.
And it's like, who fucking cares? Like,
you
don't need to think of that. Like, yeah, it's like, I'm attractive. Like,
what are you gonna do if they do think you're attractive?
Yeah,
nothing.
Exactly. And if they don't, like, you know, like, as long as I'm cool with who I am and I'm attracted with myself, which I don't know if that sounds narcissistic, but it's also like I feel like you have to. Yeah. You have to be attracted with yourself. Like, if you want to succeed, you have to be confident. You have to be able to like control your thoughts. Yeah. It's not easy. It's hard. And I mean, I still struggle with it. It's not like the easiest thing to do, but like being able to be aware and understand that like negative thoughts aren't actually what's happening. You know, like that's not the reality of it. Those are just like your imagination, like just running wild and like creating these scenarios that like could potentially happen, but really you have no control over that. You do what you do and then you let the rest happen because you only can control what you put out, right? Yeah. Everyone else controls what they put out. So then that creates the situation that kind of grows, you know? If you put something out and then you're like, oh, fuck, like, what did I do? Obviously, it's probably not going to go well. You're manifesting that, like, it's not going to end up, like, you're, like, insecure about it. You hold that confidence with what you put out. No one has to fuck with it, but as long as you fuck with it, then it's good, you know? Like...
No, I hear what you're saying. I like, so you made this change from a lot of internal thinking. Yeah. Sounds like, but do you know what prompted you to start that internal thinking in the first place?
I mean, it gets really deep with like, I I mean, I don't mind talking about it, but like suicide.
Okay.
I've had 2 attempts in my past. That was probably the roughest time of my life. It was like 19 to 20. Like that was when I finally like realized like shit needed to change. Like I needed to change. Like it was like my lowest of the low that I could ever remember at the moment. Like 19 to 20 to like kind of 21 was like a huge moment of like we need to figure out my mind. Like I need to get things in order. Like I don't want to struggle with this forever. I don't want to hate myself for forever. Like I want to enjoy life. Like I want to be here. Like I've made it here. I made it to this point, and it's like it's a beautiful thing. And like before, like there would be little things that would get to me, and it's just like I don't even want to be here anymore. Like this is I'd rather be like, you know, I'd rather be gone. And then it's like understanding that like that's one small fraction of what your whole life provides, and you are the controller of what you want to happen. You know, and it was just like I allowed these things to happen. I allowed myself to put myself in these positions. I mean, obviously it could be different for everyone, but from my taking and my opinion on it, you control it. You do. Like it's definitely a mental thing. It's not as easy as like it can, like it's not super easy to like kind of like rid yourself of it. Like I mean, I still have thoughts. Like it's not like they're gone. Would I act on them now? No. Do I appreciate my life? Of course. And that's all you can do is keep going. Like it was just like finally like I was just tired of being sad. Like I was tired of like I don't know, like not feeling completely myself. Like it was just like a moment of like realization that like I want to be me and I want to be happy with who I am. And like to do that, like you have to have these difficult challenges. Like you have to go through it. Like you have to fucking cry sometimes. You have to like bleed something. You know, you have to get through the nitty and gritty and like the roughest times to finally feel like you conquered. And then once you feel that like empowerment, it's so just like it's just a good fucking spike, man. It's great. Like you get, it's like a not a high, but like it's just like that good energy. You start to like really feel yourself. Momentum. Yeah, and it's just like, all right, like I got this. Like let's keep it going. Like all right, I've worked out this challenge. Like let's go to the next one. Like I got anxiety. All right, like let's fucking get over it.
You start getting excited for the challenge instead of anxious.
Yeah. Or like that was a huge thing of like overcoming my anxieties. Like being in public. Like I used to not like talking on the phone. I used to be terrible at talking on the phone. I would decline calls from family. Like I could not talk on the phone. So it was a challenge. Like, you know, you got to fucking do this. Like, let's get it. Let's try it out. I used to not like going to movie theaters and sitting by strangers or like being touched by strangers. And like, so that concert we had gone to that you had mentioned earlier, that's the only concert I've been to other than like little house shows. It was a huge thing for me of like being touched by like random people, you know, and being in like crowded spaces. But it's like now it's like, I feel like as sad as quarantine was and how impactful it was, it really made me realize that there's a lot more to life than just like hating shit and not fucking with things. Like you gotta put yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow. If you don't do it, then you don't even know what it's like.
Amen.
And so it's like, I don't know, that's just kind of how it is. It's like you just gotta push yourself. That's the hardest thing to do, but like once you do it, it's like you said, the momentum. It's just like getting yourself like on the swing and just like fucking throwing yourself. You know.
I love all of what you're saying. I am like made of comments and thoughts. But first and foremost, I'm glad you're still here. I think that goes without being said. I think you're here for a reason. Yeah. And I mean, it shows great strength that you were able to overcome it. And also, I fucking envy that you were able to recognize that you needed to make a change, and you did the internal thinking yourself. Because I had to be told what was my problem. Yeah. And you know, fortunately, I recognized that and then started making the change. But you did it yourself, so you know, fucking hats off to you. That takes a lot.
I mean, truthfully, I can't say it was all myself. I mean, I did have therapy, and I did have like my parents.
Yeah, but you made the decision.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
After a very dark time.
Yeah.
And that is what I envy a lot. I think that takes great strength. And also, your openness and vulnerability to talk about it here. I appreciate it.
Of course.
One thing on the anxiety thing, I have a couple comments just because, you know, you said a lot and I liked it all. So one of my best buddies, Matt Freed, he's a therapist now. He's gone into social work. And he's got his master's. And he deals a lot with patients with anxiety and with suicidal thoughts and depression, stuff like that. And he could explain this way better than I could. But he is my good friend, so I'm able to explain a little bit. But he's saying one of the methods for people to get over anxiety is called opposite action, which sounds a lot like what you did. For example, if I'm nervous of talking to people on the phone, do it. Yeah. Just do it. And it might go terrible 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. But by doing it, you're slowly forcing yourself to get more comfortable. And it's not for everybody, because sometimes that can, really cause some shit for people. But opposite action, he's been saying that a lot, and it sounds like what you're doing, and it sounds like it's helping, and I think that's so cool because I see it in practice now.
Yeah, it is nice. I mean, even like just going out by myself, like I love going on like self dates, like
oh yeah, dude, treat yourself
and like just doing things that like I feel like used to cause me a lot of anxiety, where now it's like I challenge myself to like push the boundaries. I mean, sometimes like it can get bad, like I can completely like shut down, but like I'll still force myself to do it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to get to overcome those fears. Like it's all really it is. It's just fear. Like you have to realize that fear is just like a mental battle. Like, and then once you battle that demon, it's endless. You know, like there's so much. Like the possibilities are endless. I should say that's what I was aiming for.
Yeah, most things are mental battles. Yeah. But dude, going back to the whole like insecurity thing and how you recognize you need change. Again, reiterate, it's awesome that you recognize it yourself. Like I said, I had to be told, and that's one thing that helps me now. Before, in previous relationship, I was insecure about myself, and so I would consistently, try to keep tabs on what this other person was doing, because I was insecure that they would find somebody better.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was an issue until they explicitly said, hey, I did this action because you assumed I was going to anyway. No matter what I did, you fucking just had this thought that I was going to leave you or wrong you or whatever. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, you explained that, like, slapped me in the face and, like, made me recognize that. And so now I think that coupled with that advice and my confidence, now I don't even quite, like, my girlfriend now, go do whatever you want. I'm confident in the fact that I treat you well enough to where you won't want to leave, and also I offer you enough to where you won't want to leave. So I don't even fucking think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that advice that I got, that learning that I got from a previous relationship. And I'm very thankful in the fact that I've grown to be more confident, because it's helped me be a better person. And I think one thing that you said that relates it to that is by you being more authentic, it's helped you in your own relationships.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to be more confident with yourself, more yourself in general. And that helps you, in your relationships with others. So just tying that all full circle.
Yeah.
But I know we're a little bit at time, but great conversation. One thing I always like to end these with, I don't know if you are familiar with it or not, but is a mental health tip. I call them Timbits. Basically, anything that you do to help you continue achieving good mental health, or let's say you're having a bad day, something that you might do to kind of turn the tide a little bit, shift the momentum, and make it a better day. Anything that you do to promote your good mental health.
Being active and creative. I mean, it's something that I feel like at your worst times, like you just have to, you push yourself to do it. Like you having a bad day, go to the gym, work off that energy. Do something creative also. Like there's times like I get at my worst and it's like, okay, like let's go shoot some film and then go on a nice hike. After that, like it's just enjoying the beauty of like nature and like your surroundings. I don't know. I feel like I guess the Timbit would be just to find the beauty in the small things. Really, and also be active and creative. There's a lot, I guess.
There's a lot. Hey, anything you want. You can expand on if you'd like.
I don't know, like you have to really appreciate the smallest things. Even like you just have to sit there and just like think about like just 10 things. Just think of like 10 things that you're truly appreciative for, that really impact your life and make you who you are. And if you don't have 10, at least 5. Do a number of things. It doesn't have to be like a certain, I guess, number. I like to do 10. And then also just, walk outside. Just get fresh air. Go. There's so many like state parks and like trails around the area and stuff. And like, I mean, obviously some people you were saying that are like global. You got some like global fans, right?
Dude.
There's areas,
I don't have my phone on me,
there's things that people could do just to be active. Like, just go for a walk. If you feel like you want to do something or you have a passion to do something, don't overthink it and just fucking do it. That's all you have to do. It's harder than it sounds, but it's like You wanna do anything. You wanna go fucking ride a bike, go ride a bike. Don't push it away. If you have an urge to do something that would help make you feel better, don't overthink it at all. Just do it.
Hell yeah.
Like there was a time I went kayak. Like I was like upset, like not upset, but I was like wanting to go kayaking. But like I didn't really have anyone to go to or go with and stuff. And I also just kind of wanted to be on my own. And so I was like, you know what? Like Ann Arbor has that kayaking thing. Went and just fucking kayaked by myself. 2 hours.
There's no shame in doing something by yourself.
Yeah. It was so fucking nice. And like I left there just like feeling so good. Like it was like I fucking did that. Like that just happened. And it's just like doing those little things that like, I don't know, bring a smile to your face. Like just do it. Like just do it. Who cares?
Hell yeah, dude. I fuck with that heavy. I fuck you and Neil run in the same friend group. I fuck with that friend group heavy. Like I don't know why I'm just like starting to have a conversation with you both, but Jesus, man, you're a cool dude.
You're a fucking cool dude. I'm so happy to be here. This is so great.
One last thing, I forgot to end with this as well. So I always do the Timbit.
Okay.
And then the past couple episodes I've done it, and I want to do it moving forward. I don't make ad revenue for this because I don't like people paying me to say shit that they want me to market. I like hearing what people actually like. So just one thing that you'd like to promote or recommend. It can be a fucking candy bar, a TV show, a person, anything you want to promote or recommend.
Okay. This is my recommendation.
Sure,
it's a place in Northville. It's a door and flower shop. They have a candy store next to it called Sugarloo's, and they just opened a restaurant called Toria's.
The same owner owns all of them?
Same owner owns all of them. I mainly go there for their flowers. They have a beautiful selection of flowers. You can get plants there, you can get decorations there, but they're bouquets and like vases of flowers. Like you can put in a certain amount of money that you want to spend, and they can come up with some beautiful fucking ideas and like just beautiful bouquets in general. Like I definitely recommend them. I want to shout out them because like I've gotten plenty of flowers from them, and it's like always been great feedback from them. And so it's like now it's like my time to shine and like thank them for that.
Hell yeah.
But also they have a candy store, which is awesome. And then they also have now a restaurant, which is about to be fucking booming. The inside looks beautiful. I think they open next week on like the 16th. So I definitely recommend checking them out for sure.
Well, I know for sure one of my listeners is my brother. At least he should be. So if you're not listening, I'm going to kill you. He lives in downtown Northville. And that's where you said it was, Northville?
Yep.
So I'm sure he'll check that out, and maybe I'll join him because I always like new restaurants. Yeah. And I know somebody who'd probably like flowers who's in the other room. So maybe I'll do that. But
definitely, I recommend it.
Okay.
They got some nice ones. I've given them as gifts. And
what's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower is a water lily.
Okay.
You can't really get those in bouquets, but it's either water lilies and now sunflowers. I really fuck with sunflowers.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Sunflowers are fucking sweet.
Did you know that there's so many different varieties of like colors of them? Usually
they're just yellow.
Like yellow, but you can get like orange. You can get like a dark like red.
Do they grow naturally or are they like bred?
I believe they're natural. Maybe not.
I didn't even know there was other ones that existed.
Yeah, there's some cool colors.
Although I feel like I feel like I thought I saw on Twitter that there was like black sunflowers, but I don't know. I was like, oh, that's probably just like photoshopped.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not. I don't fucking know.
I got some at the flower shop. But yeah, that would be my shout out.
Hell yeah. One safety tip on that shout out: cats are allergic to lilies.
Really?
It could kill them, but more than likely, they'll just make them throw up. So don't give your cat lilies.
Yeah.
But if they're cool flowers, then buy yourself lilies or your partner lilies.
Definitely,
okay.
Yeah.
I like lotus flowers.
Lotus is.
And then obviously sunflowers are like, they're goated. Everyone likes sunflowers. They're sweet.
To not like sunflowers, you kind of gotta.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You need to fight your inner demons to figure out why you don't like sunflowers. But Dante, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a fucking blast. This is always where I got to do the fucking sign off. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, hit me up. You can text me. You can, if you know Dante, you can text him and he'll connect you with me.
For sure.
Instagram is TIMM podcast. Email, even though I don't get emails often because mostly it's a younger crowd, we don't use email, is timmpod@gmail.com. Facebook's TIMM podcast. My name's Seth, just Atkinson. I'm supposing you probably know that if you listen to me, but hit me up if you want to be on. I'd love to talk to you about whatever. Hope you had fun. Did it go by quickly?
Time. It honestly went by very quickly. I'm
it
surprised
always
it's
does,
an hour
dude.
24. Like,
yeah. It always does, and that's why I tell everybody. I'm like, especially people who are nervous. I'm like, dude, it'll go by.
And it's wild like because we already had a conversation before that.
It's like about an hour.
Yeah,
yeah, but we've just been fucking
this
flying.
Has been great.
Dude. Hell yeah. So you heard it here. Until next week, guys. Thank you very much.